Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss what DASAVATAR, 10 Lord Vishnu incarnations, 10 stages of development. The knowledge of neuroscience is a particular balance or particular Tantra Vidya as such. Let's understand the definitions seen in Google or in the books or AI as such. The Dash avatars are 10 primary incarnations of the Hindu god Vishnu who descended to earth to restore cosmic order. That is first statement which is made. And 10 avatars in order are Matsya the fish, Kurma the tortoise, Varaha the boar, Narsimha the man and lion, Vamana the dwarf, Parshuram the warrior sage, Rama the prince, Krishna the spaceman, and Buddha enlightened one, and Kalki the future redeemer. This is a statement which everybody knows about it as on date. And this particular picture is taken from Ram Janmabhoomi, the temple which is made, and in this particular thing the description of 10 incarnations are very well written there and engraved into the picture around Rama itself, and they are exactly the same thing which is artificial intelligence is talking about. There is a concurrence between the statement and AI and concurrence on this, and that is the point which I am making it. I am not going into detail of anything else. Now let me show you certain pictures which are done much before that. This is one of the pictures where you see all the 10 things including Buddha as such. In the picture is very clear. This is another picture of the same thing done by another artist, keeping in mind well accepted other things in India by the present generation or the recent generation as such. This is the mindset of the people. But all the 10 names are exactly the same in the same order you can see. Now come to the question. I raise the question. The Dasa Avatar as those 10 names is one part, but there are different versions also available that show there is no concurrence in these 10 concepts as such completely. The many people before me have differed in this particular concept, and let me show you those pictures. This is the picture. In this particular picture I am very surprised, and I make it very surprised. Lord Krishna is missing. How could be there Dasavatar without Lord Krishna is something which is not ever acceptable to me, because Rama and Krishna are the two things which stand out in Ramayana and Mahabharata, and they play a very important role as divinity in living human forms, and they stand out. Let me not get into details of other things as such, but as far as Hinduism is concerned or Sanatana Dharma is concerned, definitely Ram is given the most important. Lord Ram and Lord Krishna are two which cannot be replaced by anybody else. Others can change, but these two cannot change because they have lived on the earth and given the beauty of Ramayana on one side and Mahabharata on the other side, including Gita. And those are the two epics which are important for all the Hindus to know what life is it. What is ideal king is Ramayana, and the perfect dharma, the Yudh by and large is Lord Krishna, and the sermon to the world in Holy Gita, these things stand out. Rest, whether Ved, Upanishads, other things are not at all possible for a common person to know, but for a man to know or a woman to know or humanity to know what to do and what not to do, be a perfect ideal human being and person of great Ramayana and Mahabharata stand out. So missing Krishna is definitely not something which is acceptable to anybody, including me. Whosoever has met has never really understood Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism as such. Now there comes to question. Now in this particular picture you see the same thing. The order is not what the order is given in the earlier pictures, and that is the point which I am making it. Now come to the question. In this is another picture. Users say the same thing which has a different concept than those 10 things which earlier artificial intelligence talks about it, or Ram Mandir is talking about, or the universal accepted as such. This is another picture. The order is not the same, the order which 10 have. I do agree that 10 things given in the order in the beginning, including Buddha, has a particular concept. So, but in this particular picture, you don't even see the concept in the same form. That is also something which I would not agree, because when it's a states of development, it has to be a point 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. It has to be something with evolutionary in the process. You cannot be in incarnation lower than what you are otherwise. Your concept should be higher than what it is. And that is what my point is. When I talk of neuroscience, I talk of the nervous system, I talk of the endocrine system, autonomic nervous system, and the way the life is out makes the person become better and better, finally go to higher levels of consciousness. And we are talking about 10 stages of development. That means 22 by 21 to the power of 10 is that. Beyond that is much higher. So at least right up to 10 we should know very well. Now my perception, I am going to talk to it. Matsya, I have no problem, because that's the first stage of development in all the vertebrate forms. The first thing which came is fish. I totally agree with it, and it is in water element and remains there, and it represents the trigeminal layer to start the life as such. I have no doubt at all. Kurma is the second one. They can live in water and earth at the same time. There is a transition by and large. Boar is a wild boar is an animal form as such. Then Narsma is a man and lion as such. And then Vamana as a dwarf person at a higher level. Parshuram as a warrior stage, absolutely no problem. Rama as a prince, I totally agree with it. And Krishna as a statements, I totally agree with Andharma. But instead of Buddha, I have got Balram, and I call Balram non-aligned, and that is definitely much higher than Dharma itself. I am not bringing anybody down. Dharma is truth, is important. Fight between left and right, or wrong and right, evil and virtues is important. But sometimes the question comes up, who are we, who am I to decide who is right or wrong? It is the individual who is going to be bad is going to suffer, person who is good is going to win. So taking side of perfection, or rather the dharma, against the evil is a big statement which comes with a lot of doubts as such. And I, since my childhood, I have been following the assignment of non-aligned. I do know very well. I would like to stand on my personal relationship with each and everybody, on my personal relationship. I am not influenced by their relationship with each other. Let me be my father, let it be my brother, let me be my sister, let me anybody, even my wife or any children otherwise. I will not go with them and align with my friends, relatives or other things blindly as such. I would maintain my personal relationship with anyone who could be totally against my own relatives, my own father, mother, brother, sister, this and that, doesn't really matter. I understand person is very good with me and I will not take side. That non-aligned approach has helped me to come to the stage of Divyank, because it has allowed me to move on higher and higher. I had never had to compromise. And I find the world is suffering today with the defective education in from school, college, university, otherwise, because you are following only what is accepted. You are not even prepared to question why it is right or wrong. And that is something which is making everybody becoming a copycat in maths, physics, chemistry, biology and medical sciences, you do not have your own independent thinking to do things which is absolutely good for the entire world. Sanatana Dharma for everybody, it's not for your own people. I can understand the politicians taking nations in mind and having great intentions, very good. But then to come to the education, enlightenment, otherwise, you have to think of everybody as such. And that is the point which I am making it. And then Kalki, the future redeemer, I have no problem. So now you can understand I have exchanged Buddha with Balram, because Buddha I do not agree is the enlightened soul. I do not see he has seen the world as such with the perfection which Sanatana Dharma is talking about. Buddha doesn't even encourage of what do you say, Atma itself. And Buddha is showing that you hit me one side or you hit me one side through my negligence you could become win is something which does not work. And I'm not talking of anybody, I talk to the concept. You got to stand on your footing and do very well. And that is the point. And now that's a question which I raised. Non-alignment is enlightening equilibrium by and large. Because I have maintained non-aligned attitudes from my childhood through school, college, university, otherwise. As a result, I found the wisdom from school, college, university till today I continue to refine, because I am not influenced by what is given or known or otherwise. I am not a blind follower. Whatever may be, even I see Veda and Upanishads in Sanskrit scriptures only the perfection which I have experienced with non-aligned approach, not as something which is there in the books, forms, or other taught. No wonder I questioned everything from the beginning and found things to perfection, to Divyank level, only because of non-aligned. So that is where I see Balram, who did not take part in Kurukshetra war at all. He did not stand with Kauravas or Pandavas. He said, no, I have both relationship with, I do not want to break, I do not want to get, and I continue to do that, and that's the message which I give it. Whatever religions or this and that, everything has got something good, something bad. Let's not stand by that. Let's not call any religion as the perfect religion by and large. And that is the point which I am making it clear. Let us be rounded in our wisdom, but not so blindly that it does not let us know what other religions, other concepts at all. That's a point which I am making it very clear. Now let's understand these 10 stages as such in a very precise, concise point. And the first stage of development or the first stage of knowledge, I put it as Matsya, as far as DASAVATAR is concerned, no doubt. First fish incarnation, which was designed after in problems, fish saved the people including Saptarishis and couples of all and raised them to this, and this concept is not only India, it is known abroad also as such. So I agree. Even carnation or Darwin's theory also starts from fish. There is no doubt at all. It's a beautiful point to start with as far as vertebrate we human beings are concerned. That's the first stage of development, and this is something which you can always call it child being conceived and developed in the mother's womb is represents this consciousness as such, and I totally agree with it. Now this is when come to the Tantra Vidya, I relate it with Muladhara Chakra, the first sound. And in this picture you can see the sound, 4 petals, and also autonomic nervous systems, lower concept where 2 chains of sympathetic system meet together in ganglion impar, and that is the consciousness in which your Antaratma sleeps and you go to, and that helps you to become perfect in rest, digest, conservation. Otherwise it recovered from the work of the day and go into that, and that is what Muladhara, and gives you the power of fundamental thing to do work very efficiently. You are healthy, wealthy, wise and happy when you are focused in Muladhara Chakra. It has all the potentials, every level in Tantra Vidya Muladhara is the most important for grounding. There is no doubt at all. Anybody who cannot go to sleep at will can never be healthy, wealthy, wise and happy and intelligent. So power of sleep, deep sleep and consciousness to recover fully is Muladhara Chakra. I totally agree with that. Now the second stage of development comes up is when you wake up. You go to the next stage, Swadhisthana Chakra. When you start moving around like the child in the womb is Muladhara. Then you move out when you are born. Then you start moving around. When you start moving around comes a kurma, then you start sporting as such. And this is picture of Sagar Manthan, a Samudra Manthan, a churning of ocean. That whole Meru mountain was sported on kurma or tortoise alone. And whole Ida, Pingala, Sushmana Nadi in this form, I see the whole Tantra Vidya taking a shape of evolution by and large. That was evolution, this is revolution, then going to evolution from thereafter. I think that beautiful point to show once you are born, you move around, you activate, you do karma, you do dharma, you do everything, and then you start evolving one by one. That is one part. Then come to the question, Swadhisthana Chakra is second chakra, which is a procreation. And that means you are born, you are now healthy, wealthy, wise and happy, you get married and have the next generation putting together becomes a very important concept in evolution for all the animals, including human beings. Getting married, having healthy children like yourself, other thing is very important in evolutionary process. I totally agree. Kurma plays that role of a karma yoga, perfection and also procreation as such. This is one of the things which every human being has to do, whether he likes it or doesn't like it. That means you are going to lay a foundation for gain better and better, and this also gives you ojas, energy, and also the tejas, the intelligence, which starts from Swadhisthana Chakra. How that makes you intelligent, intuitive, otherwise is the process when you wake up. Sleep, you take rest, wake up, you do this. I think that is a beautiful point, and kurma as such. Then comes the third stage of development, a third stage of knowledge is Varha. Now from first amphibian, first fish to the amphibian to the one which is wild animal form. You have literally come to a stage like four-legged animals, not like fish or this. You see the change coming up. Now four arms, you are taken that form and you move around, and this is something which has also saved Mother Earth. That means you got to become a conscious to make sure that your life is definitely moving very, very well. And that comes from the Nadhi Chakra, because that's the adrenal gland. This gives you the power in emergency, come what may, you survive and you take things very, very clear. So Nadhi Chakra taught me the power of survival. That means you have born, you are healthy, wealthy, you have produced the children, but you should also live longer as such, and what is required is Nadhi Chakra gives it, and its power of 10, 4, 6 and 10 chakra. 10 gives you have 10 lives as such, do wonderfully very well, you could be super intelligent person as such. Now comes to the question of fourth stage of development of the knowledge. Now it's a Narsimha, from fish to amphibian to four-legged. Now from four-legged animal you are taking the form of human mind. So this is Narsimha has half man, half animal. Animal is getting into form. That is where as you move into brain stem as such, are coming into nervous system, as you go higher and higher consciousness, that is time you start becoming more transition from animal, lower animal to high animal to human form itself. So this is a development between this and human form, and that is the nervous system does, and the person who is higher and higher in the brain would be able to function, in whom fish is there, kurma is there, vara is there, and also the animal form which is very violent, and also the human form which is gentle. I think that transition is very important in understanding the concept of DASAVATAR as such. Now they come to the question of it is associated with Manipura because Manipura is for digestion, for all the requirement of homeostasis, whether it's water, nutrients, electrolytes and other things come from that, and that is important. Manipura is the fourth chakra which is connected with the lower part of the thorax itself, and it has got 12 petals as you can see very clearly. Now come to the fifth stage of development and knowledge is Vamana. Then you move from digestive system to the higher the lungs itself or the heart itself, and that is what important comes at dwarf weapon. I am not associating with the adrenal gland. I am stating at the three spheres as such. By this time you come to the heart level, your bhakti yoga rises, and when bhakti rises you become a powerful thing. As a result, whether it's the earth or antariksh or the heaven, all the three things are under your control. And Vamana means that is a dwarf Brahman who can understand the entire three systems of earth, antariksh, atmosphere and the heaven, and the whole solar system can be understood by someone who reaches that level of consciousness in intelligence. Now the question is, this is with the heart. That means you understand the atmosphere, which is oxygen and also carbon dioxide, also the immunity by and large, and that is a much higher level, which is an upper thoracic level 6, and it's also 12 petals as such, and this is what recognized by Tantra Vidya also very well. Now comes to the sixth stage of knowledge or development. Make it very clear is Parshuram, the Brahman. As you move to the higher level, from this to you can concentrate and contemplate on higher levels of consciousness. You become more and more wiser as you are going higher in the process. And in the process you come to Vishuddhi Chakra, you realize that there are 16 petals, all the phonetic sound, your expression become very well, you are very clear in expression, you come to Hamsa level and it detoxes everything is said, and entire whole Sagar Manthans one thing of Nilkant or poison, hala hala, is seen very well in throat in the form of thyroid hormone to produce a heat energy within yourself to remain very healthy in winter and cold, and you don't need air conditioner, you don't need a heater, you don't need anything, you can maintain very well. You have to come to that level of thing in Vishuddhi Chakra itself. Then come to the seventh stage of development of knowledge. You come to Lord Rama. You come to much higher part of the brain, allocortex, to the thinking brain, where you learn to do things perfectly for everybody in your own nation. In that your nation is important. You are like a politician, nationalist, and you do things for that. For anyone who does everything for India as such, primarily India, and let the world benefit, but not at the expense of India. India is the first and remain within that. That politician for whom the nation of India is more important is like Rama. Ram Rajya means we should have the wonderful work for our people as such. That's the first stage of development, and that should be with respect to your father, mother, wife, children, relatives, friends, and slowly you come to stage of your own near and dear ones. You got to do things good for everybody, and don't worry anybody else, don't let anybody from outside to disturb you. I think that's ideal king, ideal politician, Ram Rajya as such. I think I totally agree with that, because once you reach that level, you have the nation interest, your own people think, you will do everything good for everybody who is very good to you. Rag with them is there as such. Now that comes to Ajna Chakra, Gyan Chakra, which is with the pituitary gland, which makes the brain stem to function optimally with the homeostasis within the body. And I think totally agree with it. As a medical person, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology takes a much higher form. Once you come to the brain stem, it starts functioning automatically that stage, and you don't need to make effort because you have seen the lower part completely integrated. Now come to the eighth stage of development of the knowledge. There comes Lord Krishna. I totally agree with it. Lord of Dharma is important because you got to save your people come what may be. I would totally say you come to a stage, you know the divinity, you know the dharma, you know the arts, you know everything. That very high level of consciousness, because you are now within your own state, you make sure that you have the right politician to do, who can take care of it, who is not there. You have to play a role to create a leader. Rama is a king. He is himself ruling it. Now you come to a stage, you hire. Now you don't want to rule yourself. You want to make sure that other right people rule, and you defect do not rule. From that particular angle, I would say Krishna stands at higher level because he is observer. He is seen as a god as such. No wonder he himself in Gita says he is a Purusha, he is the Antaratma, he is also divine consciousness. That knowledge is very clear when it comes to the Krishna's consciousness. He is expert in 16 arts, and Dharma he did very well. I think extremely good to understand. You have come to a very high level in the brain's level, in nervous system, where you have the equilibrium within yourself. You can make sure between this and that. Now that is a Vigyan Chok, the 8th and hypothalamus, where all the integration of the autonomic nervous system, endocrine system takes place. You are literally a perfect. You will never make a mistake, and you will lead everything perfectly. And that is concentration, autonomic, endocrine system, neurosciences is a much higher level of health, wealth, wisdom, hypnosis, psychology. I think I totally agree as a neuroscientist. It's a definitely higher level of consciousness in Vigyan Chakra, where science will stand out. And you can see the difference much better in the process. Now come to the 9th stage of development of the knowledge. Now I bring Balrama, not Buddha. With the due respects, I have nothing against Buddha, but any Buddha, the people who are following Buddha, I will not call those politicians who say, okay, you hit me on one leg, now I will not react, you hit me on the other side, you will get fed up and done with it. All those concepts do not work in life at all, because you cannot change the people in the process. So that is where you come to non-aligned when you move from your state of your country to the world as such. When you go to the world, you do not know what other countries are doing. They have their own interests, you have your own interests, you keep your interest. But you need have a non-aligned approach with everybody. Don't go for this system or that system. It's a multilateral thing, and within thing which is uniformly good for everybody, accept it. And that is where I see Balram very clearly in Mahabharata. He did not go with Kauravas or Pandavas. He said, not worry, you are the two rulers. I stay, I would be this, and I, on the whole, from my own life point of view, maintain that equilibrium. My brothers could have fight with my friends' brothers and sisters. Let them fight. But me and my friend would always remain. And I have seen that happening from a school, college, university, even today. I do not stand by anybody. I am good to everybody, irrespective of whatever it is. But I know very well, if they are bad, they are going to suffer. If they are good, they will remain. Why should I worry about it? People are going to pay their price based on their karma. Similarly, Balram knew very well, whether he takes part or doesn't part, evil will go eliminated and virtues will stand out. No wonder Pandava stood, but he did not take part. And I think that is, you are letting them take the decision, fight them yourself, and you just be that. Krishna also did not take part in the fight. He was only a carrier of showing the perfection, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Vigyan Yoga, Pragyan Yoga as such in one form, where Balram showed that I can do the same thing as a non-aligned person itself by not taking part and making things worse. I think 9th part is very, very clear. Now come to the question of this comes to the Pragyan Chakra, which is 9th, and it's with pineal gland, and this is where Antaratma should finally go to. Muladhara, it sleeps, and this goes through the different stages of procreation to this, finally come to within the ventricles of the brain after Brahma Granthi to that. When come to that particular stage, You are able to come to a stage of non-aligned. Only then you come to, because you have eliminated all the thoughts. You are no more rag and dvesh, this and that. You are virag, sannyas and otherwise. I think that makes a very high level of understanding. Once person is able to do that all his life as a non-aligned person, he is enlightened. In his soul and he become one, and he doesn't need any problem at all. I think that is a beautiful point which I made, and I think Balram stands out, not Buddha as an enlightened soul. Whatever I do not see in any of the writings of Buddha, even one fraction of what Gita is all about. I think Balram stood better, Krishna stood better, Ramayana stood better. I do not see anything of that level to give me the divine mathematics, physics, chemistry knowledge in any form other than what Ved, Upanishad and Gita have given me directly or indirectly. Now come to the 10th stage of development, or DASAVATAR as such. It is with Lord Kalki, the Lord of scientific wisdom, and people might call Redeemer, but I think I call him the principle of integrated knowledge. Once you come to that part of the brain where you are observer to see everything with a perfection, you have integrated knowledge, you are very clear in yourself. And that is what I do not call Lord Karma tomorrow's. It's a Lord, as we said, every human being has that particular potential. And this was in Satyayug, this is today. It all depends on individual. Anyone who is scientific, Gyan, Vigyan, Pragyan, Akhandata as such, have reached that particular level. You are totally integrated at 10th level, and that is integrated knowledge which I am talking about, Kalki. Every human being is capable of doing that. It is not something which is going to happen tomorrow. It is already happening. Even beyond that can happen in this life, and I have done that. And in this particular thing, I have brought another chakra called Akhand chakra in between, which is 10th chakra, which is connected with insular cortex, which is higher central nervous system, beyond pineal gland, beyond hypothalamus, to the center where endocrine system and autonomic nervous system become at higher level, and whole integration of the brain comes to take place. And I think all called the Kantata taken there, the 10th stage, and this is something which I had experienced even before I moved out. In my book Akhand, an essence of universal consciousness, 22 by 21 to the power of 10 was already described, and this is I am talking about Akhand happened even during my PhD work itself. In the initially I have come to that stage and very clear. I think having done that, I think it's very clear how the consciousness goes up, and this is more or less you come to the stage of the outer layers of neocortex, and just below that where whole autonomic nervous system takes the form, and there is the integration of the external world, internal world takes place there itself. And this is something which Tantra does. Tantra talks of only 6 chakras, where I am talking about 10 chakras within my body, but I am also talking beyond 10.33344419. That last one is Sahasrara chakra, which I have already spoken. Let me not concentrate on that. This is only 10 stages of development of Lord Vishnu, or 10 stages of development, which I have shown in direct interest for Divyank alone. Now coming to this particular picture, you come to this particular stage by 10 itself, but you go beyond also this. We will talk about it later. I think that's enough for the time being. Thank you very much. But let me make it clear, this is based on my experience, and which has given me the divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine biology, divine medical sciences as such to stage. Unless you know the 10 stages very clearly, you can't be a perfect human being itself. Going beyond is much better, which is Divyank all about. And I think from that angle, I am really privileged to experience and explain things based on my, and replace Buddha by Balram, and show non-alignment, which has been my life center project, which continues to be, will always be there. Only as a non-aligned person I can think of all the human beings of the entire world, our entire universe, everything world taking care only when you come to that particular stage of 10th, non-aligned and then integrated. So thank you very much.